So here's what our boss Shannon Terry tweeted. What if Tennessee takes back Nico? Hypo lays down the rules for Nico's return and his family. The deal stays the same, but Tennessee builds in win-based incentives, which you can't actually do under current rules. Dad apologizes to BI7CH Nakos, and a bad situation turns good. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. The Bible verse, Luke 15:11 through 32. So chapter 15, verses 11 through 32. That is the story of the prodigal son, if you don't know your Bible stories. And so the story of the prodigal son, if you haven't been to Sunday school, is you got two brothers. One does everything right. One is a complete screw up. The screw up leaves to go screw up some more elsewhere. And then one day he comes back and dad's like, hey, we're going to kill the fatted calf. We're throwing a big old party. And the brother who does everything right, who always obeyed his dad, is like, what the hell? What are we doing here? And dad's like, we have to celebrate because he was lost and now he's found. So would Tennessee kill the fatted calf if Nico were to come crawling back? I don't think so. I don't think there's any chance. I think you would get the opening scene of Godfather 2 in Vegas when the senator's trying to shake down Michael Corleone. And Michael Corleone says, you could have my offer now. My offer is this. Nothing.
And that was Theology with Andy and Ari.
And Godfather 2.
The thing that I think we need to this is like a very heavy conversation. We have to start with the first part, which is, do you think if Nico publicly apologized, his dad called himself an idiot for doing what he did, we played ourselves, we're sorry, that Tennessee fans would accept the apology? That's the number one question that I have. Because
if they thought it would win them 2 more games this season, they'd accept the apology immediately.
Okay, so here's the thing. I've been on the bad side of Vol Twitter. Okay.
Not as bad as Nico, but yes.
Recently. Okay. Now I'm not their quarterback and I didn't leave them high and dry. I'm good with them now. I've got Vol Twitter behind me now. I do think that if Tennessee fans feel in their guts that Nico could win them an extra few games or gives their team the best chance to win, and he apologizes, that they could conceivably move on from it. Now, there are 2 different things that you have to consider here, Andy, which is what do the fans think, right? And then, of course, what do the people behind the scenes who were involved in the contentious contract negotiations to begin with think? And those might be 2 very different things. They might not want to deal with it anymore. I mean, when you get to a contract negotiation, or when you get into a negotiation with anybody or an argument with anybody, it gets to a point where you don't want to speak to that person anymore. And we might be there. Okay. So I'm not saying that this is a perfect solution. My question has always been and will remain to be is if Tennessee sticks with Merkslinger and he's not a very good player yet. I'm not saying he won't be eventually.
I love that everybody in who watches the show is going to be calling him Merkslinger and probably thinks that's his real name. But I'm fine with it. Let's go.
What is it? I thought it was his name.
Merklinger is his real name, but he's Merkslinger.
With me on this, Andy. And Tennessee knows, and Josh Heupel knows, and the people who are trying to sign him or get him or even offered him the money to begin with know that he is the best player that they can get right now because the market at the moment, portal's open, nobody flew out of the sky yet.
No, I have not posted the checkerboard end zone on somebody going in with a do not contact tag.
And Nico's best offer is $8.99 from UCLA. And they both come to realize separately, like a girl and a boy who break up, that they actually are happier and better off with each other and then reconcile, whether or not that could turn into a better situation for everybody rather than
I'm really glad that you created a 2002 rom-com starring Rachel Lee Cook and Freddie Prinze Jr. as Nico Iamaleava for this story. But that ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen.
In theory, could it happen? In theory. Is it crazy?
No, because while you are correct when you say that there are people who've done a lot worse things than Nico, to the coaching staff and the players at Tennessee, there's a broken trust there that is really hard to mend at this point. I think that's the reason. Like if this were not when it happened and how it happened, like if this were earlier, let's say it was December, I think maybe you could make the case, but I don't think you can make the case for that now.
Andy, the guy's gone a year from now either way.
I know.
Trust D&D back. He has to play. He has to play.
If you don't think the season's going to be that different with or without him, make the point you want to make.
If you don't think it's going to be that much different, that maybe that's the reason he's not there. I'm saying if they both got to a point where they felt like they needed each other again, in theory, I feel like fences could be mended if people wanted to step to the table and apologize. Now, if you're willing to do what Nico's camp did to begin with, I doubt you're probably in a position that would like Shannon's like publicly apologize to Nico's. The man's tweet is still up. I don't think that we're anywhere close to him apologizing to Nico's for anything. But if he actually was remorseful for his actions, and maybe it's only because you found out you made a stupid decision, but either way, you can be remorseful and really remorseful, and you apologize and say, hey, I know I left you guys and that was the biggest mistake of my life. Let me put every single ounce of energy I have left in my system into being a Vol and repairing this relationship and making this team better. Then you might have a more driven, more reliable quarterback than you otherwise might have had because he realized what he lost. I don't know. Maybe I'm watching too many Disney movies, but my wife and I had some tough times while we were dating. I'm sure that you had some tough times. Like, I don't know. Like you, when you are in a strong relationship with somebody that you love, you make it work. You make it work and you fight through it and it makes you stronger. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too idealistic. I'm not saying I think this is going to happen.
Oh, it's producer River.
All right. You need to stop. It is not happening.
I didn't say
at all.
Happening. I don't think it's going to
happen.
It
would never happen. I don't think it would ever happen.
But River.
What?
If Nico publicly apologized, came back to Tennessee and rocked shit next year, you wouldn't love that guy? Come on.
I mean, it'd be a hell of a redemption story, but they're not doing that. There's not going to be a public apology or nothing like that.
I'm giving
that's the part I think is the least believable part of this scenario is that
people could apologize with $2 million in the hell? Are you kidding me?
I mean, listen, I would be on my knees begging. I'd be like, look, you want me to make a statement? You want me to make a video? What do you want? I'm sorry. I mean, I'm like that with my wife. For nothing.
Yeah. I say sorry to my wife when she's wrong to stop the argument. Okay. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. You could tar feather me naked at midfield at halftime of a Tennessee game for $2.5 million. You could have 150,000 people going, shame.
I agree. I do not have that level of shame. We
didn't make the first $2 million. So maybe you're when you already have some money, it makes you a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. It's just a theory. And Shannon posted it. And I was like, when I read it, like people were like, you're crazy.
No, it's not the worst idea. And in an ideal world, it is something that would be a realistic possibility.
And why can't we live in an ideal world in this messed up, dysfunctional world of college football for 5 minutes?
Right. It actually should be a possibility. It should be. If you think about it logically, it should be, but it's not. Like I said,
I don't think it's going to happen. No.
Josh Heupel is Michael Corleone at the beginning of Godfather 2. You can have my offer now. My offer is nothing. So, which I think is, if he did come back apologizing, that would be where you'd start negotiating at zero.
Why don't we go to the end of Goodfellas now? If we want to stay with.
And kill everybody?
No.
Or just have a helicopter chasing somebody.
When, what's the main character's name?
Henry Hill.
Henry Hill goes back to Paulie after he was dealing dope, after they told him not to deal dope. And he's crying in the restaurant. And he goes, I'm sorry, Paulie. I don't have anybody else to turn to. And he rips off a few bands and gives it to him. But he says, like, I've got to turn my back on you now. Maybe throw him a few $100 just to, I don't know. He didn't get to come back.
Send Nico $500 and say, enjoy the Mountain West.
Send him $100K and be like, hey, thanks for your service. I don't know. Okay. But it was fun to talk about.